Hello, everybody. This is Todd Nilson with Clocktower Advisors, and this is the first in what I hope to be a weekly series of videos for digital strategy, online community building, and some of the considerations around growing your business, and whether that's a small business local to where you live or a large global enterprise brand. I think the lessons are scalable depending on which one you happen to be. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about safe spaces in your online community, and what they are, how you can create them to promote more activity. The idea being, people need to feel safe in order to contribute to any kind of online gathering or space. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I'll share 3 levels of safety that I try to think about when creating an online community, as well as some ways to create safe spaces in your own community, whether it's a live community or virtual, but I'll be primarily talking about virtual here. So with that said, let's get started. So Clocktower Advisors is an online community specialty company. We help dozens of organizations over the years in setting up and configuring online communities and thinking about the leading practices to make sure that they are successful and thriving sorts of places. Before we go on, don't forget to, if you're on YouTube seeing this, click, like, subscribe, comment, so click the bell down below. And be sure to follow so you catch all of these videos going on. I promise I'll get better over time. As well as if you happen to find this on Facebook, just please go ahead and like and follow our page so that you get to see all the updates as they come out. Very interested in your comments and feedback about this. Like I said, I want to get better over time. So I've been thinking a lot about the concept of safety this week in online communities through one of the other events that I am a co-organizer for. I had the opportunity to meet the analytical psychologist Lawrence Bennett, really amazing guy doing some interesting work around concepts of vulnerability in communities. It's something that he's thinking about right now. And the idea is what actually constitutes safety or a safe space. And I think what really kind of provoked my thinking around this idea is something that he said in one of his discussions on LinkedIn, which is safety doesn't mean a lack of conflict or a lack of emotional challenge within a space. Safety is instead something more like the freedom to have those conversations, but without any kind of conflict, without any kind of back and forth or emotional challenge. We don't grow. We need those kinds of irritants to challenge us to do better with ourselves. So as I started thinking about that and applying it to the work that I do within online community spaces, it brought me back to some thinking that Richard Millington had brought up, some years ago when I was working with him. That you don't want to get rid of the people in your community or you don't want to suppress the people in your community who are maybe irritants or irritating sorts of folks. And I've since then been thinking a lot about what is it that constitutes safety in communities, and I've really kind of come up with 3 levels or areas to think about as you're planning to roll out an online community space. And so the first level and the most basic level that is actually in a lot of the academic literature that talks about online or virtual communities, the most important thing is to make sure that you create trust around the technology for your space. In other words, have you created a website experience or an app experience that feels modern, that feels safe and protected? If you've got a website, does it have its security certificates? Are you promoting a feeling of trust in the sign-up process for the website? As somebody lands on your site, do they readily see what it's about? Just make sure it doesn't look sketchy or like a link farm or something weird. That way, I'm probably dating myself referring to link farms. They're probably no longer a thing. Anyways, the idea is that you want to make sure that the user experience, that the website itself, that the technology itself is something that seems to be pretty trustworthy and something that you would want to follow along with. In addition to that, the second level is going to be creating trust in the owner of that online community space. And what I mean by that is if you're the one that's setting up the online community and you're a company or an organization, you need to be transparent about what you're looking to get out of building the space. Why are you creating this community? Why are you creating the space? Your goals may be very noble, or they may be mercantile. You may be looking for ways to monetize your products or improve your products over time, and there's nothing wrong or bad about that. But it is a matter of being transparent about that over time, and making sure that you're not actively trying to obscure that from anybody, so that you could be called out on it later. This becomes especially important with some kinds of companies that or vertical industries where there's sensitivity around that topic. For instance, pharmaceutical industry, if you're trying to create a community for people that are interested in a particular drug or drug trials, things like that, you need to be upfront that you are creating a community where you're going to take input from people in that community, maybe anonymize it, but you're certainly going to use that information to feed into your process for how you market a drug, and how that information is going to be used is absolutely crucial to share. The third level, so the first level, again, tech. Second level, who owns the site and being clear about that. The third level is really a little trickier, and where as a community manager you have a lot more control, and that's demonstrating that this is a place where you can trust others in the community. And a part of that is making sure that you've got a very clear purpose defined for the community itself. You need to make sure that people understand that when you log in, when you joined a given community, that you are going to be talking to and meeting other people that are as interested in the topic as you are. And so if you feel like there are people like you who are in that space, you're going to feel a little more comfortable to be able to contribute to those kinds of things. So those are the three levels that I think about. I just thought I would leave you with 7 sorts of ways to create safe spaces within your community related to some of these points that I just mentioned. So way number 1, make sure that your tech works. Make sure that it's a modern user experience. That it feels like a trustworthy website. You've got site certificates. You're not doing anything to cause red flags and people distrust the technology that you happen to be using. Tip number 2, make sure that you're clear about who owns the community and how contributions will be used. Specifically, you need to get that into your terms of service on the website, or something that people need to click, an end user license agreement, wherever it is. Make sure it's in human language and that you're actually sharing why you're running the site, running this community in the way that you are. Tip number 3, you need to communicate with your members regularly about who owns the community, its purpose, and you do this through emails and posts. Your emails may be an email newsletter that your members are subscribed to when they first join the community. It may be through posts that you place in the community on a regular basis. If you have a user forum, or you've got sort of a feed like a Facebook feed, making sure that people understand that you're a presence in that community, that you're listening to what's said, and that you're looking for contributions. You're trying to create sort of that trusting environment where people can contribute to each other. Tip number 4, build a welcoming sort of culture. And that's a place where opinions and lively discussion are appreciated. And you can do that as a community manager by really, liking and commenting and bringing in others into conversations that you want to promote within the space. This is related to point number 5, which is promoting the members whose contributions demonstrate the etiquette and how you'd like to see them participate in the community space. So that's sort of respect that you'd want to see people demonstrating for each other, that's something you need to model. And it's not something as a community manager you can just model yourself. You also need to actively model it within the community, through the members who are regularly, contributing to the space. And so the ones that are doing a really great job, you need to be able to promote that. And then tip number 6, you may want to encourage people, especially some newcomers, to contribute to each other. I like to think of it as creating title pools, sort of like little areas that are safe spots where a smaller group of people can congregate. That may mean for your community having new cohorts of members coming in, especially if you're like at a community of practice, where you have professionals coming in from a group, or maybe they're taking a course together, giving them a small space where they can just kind of start to talk to each other and feel comfortable in the space, build some trust and confidence about how it's built up. These can be private discussion groups or some kind of private WhatsApp, whatever the case is, whatever you're creating for that community space, making sure that if it's a smaller group, they're going to feel a little bit more comfortable being together. And then number 7, and this one's important, and it goes back to the point that I made about Lawrence Barrett at the beginning. Don't take down provocative posts or ideas just because they might offend your sensibilities as a community manager. Sometimes the most kinds of provocative posts catalyze your community and get people active and interested in what's going on. And as long as somebody's not violating your terms of service, as long as they're not being violent or suggesting violence to others or themselves, as long as they are being respectful of the rules, ideas are there to be attacked and to be improved upon over time. And so this one's really important. I think something that a lot of larger organizations feel nervous about. A lot of executives that I talk to tend to feel a little bit of nervousness about, is this, do we really want to, open up this forum to our employees or to our customers? They're afraid of what might be said. Well, you know what? Sometimes if something negative is said, you're going to have people that are going to come in and try to defend you. Sometimes you just need to let the comment out there to run its course, but it can end up really helping your community to start to thrive. If there are some people with actively different sorts of opinions about your product or your service or your cause, these things are healthy and something that you want to be able to build upon over time. So those are my 7 ideas. I'd love to know what you think. They're still a work in progress, obviously, as everything is in a weblog like this. But there are a couple of the considerations that I've been working on or thinking through when it comes to building safe spaces in online communities. I would absolutely love to hear from you and your ideas. So please add a comment down below. Would love to understand your feedback about this. And of course, please like, share, or subscribe if you found this video to be useful. Like I said, I'm going to try to force myself to do these on a weekly basis, and hopefully they'll get a little bit better over time. But thank you for tuning in if you did, or if you did on the replay. And I will see you again next week for another topic related to digital strategy or online community.